The following is brought to you by paulakers.net.
All right, everyone. Well, welcome. We are going to have an epic time today. We're going to my good friend, Brad Cairns, and he is in Canada. Now, Brad is a totally different lean thinker than you'll ever meet. He thinks completely outside the box. He's so much fun. He's got humor that is beyond belief. Hopefully, we're going to get a little of that this morning. Brad made the analogy. He felt like he was wandering the streets naked on this tour because he feels like he's not really ready for it. The truth of the matter is he's more ready for it than any other person out there. Is this place pristine and perfect? It is not pristine and perfect, but his innovation and the way he thinks about everything is over the top, and you are going to be blown away. Brad, tell us. Go ahead. It's all yours.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Best Damn Doors. And I'm going to give you a little quick company history. But most importantly, I want to call this like the Welcome Back to Earth tour, because if you saw Seating Matters and you saw Yellow Tools, they're on another planet. Okay, these have extraordinary leaders that are out of this world. I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a stupid woodworker. So hopefully, at least some of this stuff you'll be able to relate to, and you can find it helpful in some strange way. So this crazy thing started. Paul, you probably don't remember this, but this is me in 2015. The very first time I talked to Paul on a FaceTime, I just called him because he was crazy enough to put his phone number in his book. And my wife took a picture of me talking to Paul, like, wow, oh, look, I'm talking to Paul Akers. So this is where it all started.
Yeah.
So Best Damn Doors started 4 years ago, and we had never made a door in our life. We were woodworkers from our past life, and everyone thought we were a little bit crazy because we went cold turkey from just building cabinets and commercial millwork into doors, and we'd never built a door. And they said, well, why? Like, how are you going to be good at that? And we said we had no idea. But the one thing that we did have was a commitment to continuous improvement. So I knew our first day was going to suck. We made the worst door. It took us the longest. It was painful. But I knew every day we spent an hour a day improving. So it was really literally only a matter of time until we were not only competitive, but probably one of the premier door makers in North America, I'd like to think, but who knows, that's up for debate. So it was a commitment to lean that actually got us to where we are. And there is a very special group of people that, bar none, we would not even be telling this story right now if it wasn't for them, and that's our customers. So if any of our customers are watching, we learned everything from you guys. We give you guys all of the credit, and thank you so much for the early years of Best Damn Doors and toughing it out and really teaching us what you needed. So without you, there would be no us. We love you for it. Phase two was, we didn't want to just be another door supplier. We didn't want to just have like, oh, look, yeah, cool, we make another MDF door. So we're trying to separate ourselves, and then enter this crazy German guy that I know. Michael runs a little company called Yellow Tools, may have heard of him. And he had one sentence that changed my life. I went to his company and he had a big sign and it said, "We love what you hate." And I just was like so blown away. So we came back here after that trip and we just asked our customers, what do you hate? And so our customers all hate sanding. Everybody hates sanding. So we decided we love what you hate. And so our claim to fame is that our doors show up to your factory ready to go on your finishing line. You don't have to look at them, touch them, nothing. So if it wasn't for Michael and we love what you hate, we would probably just be in the mediocrity of being another door company. So that was the turning point for Best Damn Doors, or the springboard for Best Damn Doors. The other thing that we got from those tours, especially Fast Cap and Yellow Tools, was that they all had amazing, like their Kanban cards, their Kanban cards are all like phenomenally looking cards, and the SOPs were amazing. And I couldn't quite place what was going on there. And I realized, oh my God, they all have graphic designers on their staff because that's their part of their business model. And we're woodworkers. The last thing in the world I have is a graphic designer. So you will see a lot of these cards, and you will see a lot of our SOPs that these look just like Yellow Tools and these look just like Fast Caps. And essentially what we had done was we fixed what bugs us. We built a website that generates all of our Kanban cards, and all of our lean labels and everything all in one shot. And it's super easy to use. And when we get out on the shop floor, I'll tell you why it's so critical to have some software help doing that. I think we're ready. And my business plan. I have a business plan. It's easy. If these guys say do it, just do it. Don't think about it. Don't wonder if that's for me. Don't make excuses for yourself like, oh, we do this, we do that. That's not going to work. It's this simple. Just do it. My new business plan. If Paul does it and Michael does it, I do it. End of story. So we're going to get on with this tour. We're first going to start in the office, and then we're going to kind of walk you through a day in the life. So here is this used to be, this is under renovation, obviously. You'll see a lot of that everywhere. We're always renovating everything. Because of Michael, we saw his break room and we're like, duh, now we have to have one. So we started ripping apart our offices and are turning it into a break room. So one thing I want everyone to know is what you can expect from this tour. And what you can expect is, I'm going to quote Jeff Koss and say, this is a waste tour. You can expect to see a ton of waste. Hopefully you can see some things that are going to be helpful for you. And the most important thing I want to emphasize is flow. I want to try and really get across is how do we generate flow, maintain flow? How do we balance our workflow? And I mean, that's the key to everything, because as soon as something stops, so does the profit. Everything stops. So the more things in your factory that are moving, the better. And you'll see once we get out into the factory, there's not many woodworking companies that I know of, but we have eliminated carts 100%. There's not one cart in our entire factory. And that is because we've been focused on flow for 4 years, relentlessly. The other thing is we're going to do a quick demo of showing our customers some respect, and then we'll wrap it up with one of the ways that we really show our people some respect. So we're going to just go quick through the stuff that, you know, if you're on a lean journey, you probably should have down pat or will have down pat. But this is our little office. This used to just be my whole office, and there's videos on YouTube about that. But we now have 3 people working in here where it was just mine. Like, I didn't need all that space. So we have stand-up workstations. This guy right here, unbelievable. If you haven't been to Cost Tailored, or you haven't talked to Jeff or met Jeff or Tucker, these people are a must. So if we head over here, you will see these things all over our factories. And if you're paying attention, you will have seen them at Yellow Tools. Michael has designed this pegboard, and that is the crazy German right there who we love and admire. And we call this at our factory, we call this YT board, for Yellow Tool board, because we want to always show respect to the person who created it for us. Same thing, office supplies, all labeled, all Kanban cards. I mean, this is like easy peasy. This is all of our office supplies, by the way. We don't have like a room where there's more office supplies. And then the other cool thing that I think we do that I haven't seen in too many places, all of our bookkeeping is visual. Just so that as bills and packing lists and everything are coming in, we know which ones need attention because they're filling up with paper. So we're not shuffling through looking for what to work on next. We just can see it right away. So that is pretty much it for our little office. Let's head out to the factory. Come with me. Oh, I forgot to show you this. So this was a cool little thing we did with wooden blocks when we were laying out our factory, when we had 2 CNCs, because you'll see everything in our shop is designed to save space. We are only 7,500 square feet right now. And I remember about 2 years ago, we were busting at the seams, 7,500 square feet. We were talking about building buildings and all kinds of stuff. And then we're like, no, let's think harder. Hopefully the sound's picking up. This is our little room where we do all of our own 3D printing for the machines that we make. So we have our little 3D printer running around, make all our own plastic parts. And then this board, as messy as it is like, we call this like our magic board. This is all the projects that we want to get done. We want to know how much it costs and why. And the reason I just want to show this quickly is because we wrote stuff on here that was like insane. We're like brain dump all of the things that we might want to get done one day. And we had insane things on here like robots and new routers and big new dust collection system. And we're like, haha, that'll never happen. And as a matter of fact, those 3 things that I just mentioned have been checked off the list. So it's crazy to just write it down. We can't really undervalue the power of a morning meeting. This is where everything happens. This is where your culture gets developed. This is where the learning happens. This is where the team building happens. If I had one thing for anybody, it would be just start your morning meetings right now, whether you start in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We spend 30 minutes a day in our morning meeting. And it's probably the most valuable time you'll ever spend with your team. And most people can't get their head around like, what, I'm going to stop production for 30 minutes and plus some improvement time? That's crazy. That's an hour a day. And we'll show you some stats, but we've gone from, I remember the days of people telling me making 100 doors a day was impossible. My cameraman's laughing because he remembers that. And now, we've had days where we do 400. So not every day, typically about 3. So if it wasn't for that hour a day that we were putting in, we would never improve. So I implore every leader out there to make sure that they start their morning meetings, create an area for that learning to happen. A couple of quick things that we just make sure are in our morning meeting. We want to make sure we're learning. We want to make sure that we're showing gratitude. And we also want to make sure that we're talking about our improvements. And after that, you can pepper in all kinds of stuff to make it interesting, but those are kind of like the building blocks for us. The other thing I will forewarn everybody about morning meetings is make sure you keep it positive. Praise in public and punish in private. You can make a meeting go south fast if you talk about negative things, and then it brings down the team for the entire day. Ask me how I know. I've done it lots of times. So this is like in our sandbox area, we have our training matrix. When we're in Japan with Paul, this is our little Japan people. This is what one of the things that we picked up was this training matrix. And it's great for telling who can do what task at what level. And then when you're either cross training or you need someone to fill in a task, it's pretty easy to come to the board and anybody can see who can do what. The other thing that I would like to point out, because this is new to us, but I do believe I saw it at Yellow Tools and stole it from Michael, was an improvement board. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I can't think of an improvement every day. And that's just the reality. Everyone's company is a little bit different, but ours, we couldn't think of an improvement every day. So what we do is we jot them down as we're thinking about them during the day. And we have a board here who can do it. And, if you need any supplies, or if you're trying to figure out what an improvement might be, there's some notes to help you just kind of get the creative juices flowing. And you'll notice our meeting thing in the background heading up. We built that so we could just get it right out of the way. Again, always trying to conserve space. Come with me. Come with me. This is our supply Kanban rack. And this was inspired by my buddy at Seating Matters, Ryan. We saw his and we thought, wow, we want to do that. But we're always trying to use our head, not our wallet, mostly because we're poor. So it's not that we want to, it's that we have to. And we built this rack from scratch, combining the YT board and the idea of having a rack. So if you come to the side, you can see, I'll get out of the way. It's all just connected with that YT board. And it's just made of a couple of sheets of MDF. So we might have like 20 bucks or 30 bucks. Well, now it's probably like $500 worth of MDFs in this rack. Best innovation ever is to keep the bins located properly. We have these spacers that we built in and they just snap into place. They're just like little spacers and it keeps the bins located perfectly. And that was JT's idea. Good job, JT. He's holding my camera, giving me the thumbs up. So other than that, pretty standard. Lean labels on everything. Kanban cards in the back. And you know, I hear a lot of people telling me that it's like, oh, well, I really don't run out of inventory. That's not my problem. And I can assure you, you do not know the power of not having to look for stuff until you do it. It's like the most unbelievable thing that you can do. Yes. So let's head into the meat and potatoes where all the magic happens. Are you ready? We gotta give you a couple of pretty faces to look at while we run through the factory. So let's go. All right, here we are. This is where it all begins. This is our kind of like our material storage / engineering area. Great innovation we picked up from Michael was to make all of our shelf labels magnetic. So simple, and it's way easier than moving these lifts of materials around. When the lift comes in, we put it where it can go, and we just put the label on it. So that one was like amazing. Then if we kind of just pan around, you can just see this is the level of inventory that we're holding. And we cut probably somewhere between 40 and 80 sheets of material a day. So you can see with this low inventory, we're really, really relying on a good supply chain, which these days is not easy to find. So every once in a while, you wish that you weren't so lean and you had a little bit of warehouse space. But this is it. This is all the material that we have available. And then we move over. The first step in the process is our engineering. So all of our engineering is done right here on the shop floor by this good-looking guy. Hey, Brian, everyone wants to see how good-looking you are. Yeah, I told you. There. Oh, now got to keep his shirt on. Hang on. So all of our engineering is done here, where the question is, the answer should be. So here's the answer. The questions are out there. Couple of cool innovations that we came up with. We're always trying to stay ahead of dull router bits. And so we came up with these tool tags, and you can see, for example, this tool, as we use it, we color in a square every time we cut 10 doors with it. And when it gets to the end, we know we should be changing that tool out. And so every tool has a tag associated with it, and these tags travel with the tool wherever they go on any of the 4 machines. YT board, more YT board. Then we have all of our tooling on the same YT / Feeding Matters Kanban system. Lean labels, cards, all of that is perfect. We don't, you know, there's nothing worse than like, I need that screw. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember, did we get that at BP Star? Did we get that at FS Tool? Or did we get that at Royce? I mean, we don't have to think about that stuff anymore. So we can stay focused on bringing value to our customers. All right, now let's go this way. We've got 2 production lines that run. And so when I showed you that board in the office, that was when we only had 2 routers. And now we have 4 in the same space. And I'll tell you, it was a squeeze. So if you come this way, this is one line. And basically what happens in a nutshell is we have 2 routers, one on either side, and then the doors flow off of the routers onto the tables down to the standing area, which is like this little area here. And we'll get to it when we go down the other line. But that's the flow of parts from here to there. And then this is the thing that makes me crazy still, though, is we're still batching here. It's the only place we haven't figured out how not to batch is on the CNCs, limited by equipment at this point. But everywhere else from the CNC forward is true single piece flow. You'll see right away, our number one our enemy is dust. Beep, beep. So again, oh, wow, perfect. So our parts flow off of the equipment onto the table, and then they come this way. And here we make a 2-piece door. So we have a panel that goes in there. And when this door is done now, we put it in the send it spot and off it goes. So it starts to make the long trip all the way over to the standing bench. But the important part is our operators are not walking. We're sorting, we take the door, we set it there, and it's gone. We originally needed a 4-foot wide conveyor, and we realized that's not going to fit. And Craig came up with the idea, why don't we transfer them vertically? And it worked absolutely perfect. We just transfer them vertically. So that was an amazing innovation. Craig, awesome job. Let's keep going. Okay, so we have to kind of backtrack a little bit down the line. But this is where, thank you, the flow starts happening. So as you can see, so we start the sanding process here. So the doors that we put in way at the other end, they come out here all the way down that trip. And so we take the door out and it starts getting processed right here. The next door just magically appears. So again, our operators are not moving their hands or feet to get their next part. I guess they're moving their hands, my bad. Here's where the learning started for us is, hang on, it was all about how do we get this door sanded effectively. And so we started out with like instructions that seemed simple. Sand this first, work your way around the door, sand this second. And then the variation started to kill us. We were like, wow, how do we, we get another door and then it says, oh, do this unless it's this door. And then we have a different door. And then we say, oh, do this unless it's this door or that door. And then we have another door. And we really quickly came to realize when it comes to standard work, it has to be specific to exactly what you're doing. And it wasn't until we created standard work for every single door that our problems started to ease up. We'll always have problems. And so,
Brad,
yeah.
So there are two things. Number one is at some point, if you go by your morning meeting area, I want you to show them how you dealt with your morning meeting board because we missed that great detail.
Oh, okay.
Number two, you need to articulate your thinking about the way you made your doors for vertical instead of horizontal. Like every other company in the world, you thought completely differently. And I think you passed over that point, and it was powerful because you didn't have the space.
Right. Yeah, we didn't have the space. If you see the room between our line and everything else that's going on in our machines, we only had about 8 inches to get the doors from one end to the other. And not to mention the 4-foot conveyor was twice as expensive. So
I think you should go back and show that. I think that people need to see that you thought that differently. I don't know how far back that is, but I think you should show
we could show you from this. We could show you from this side.
You need to show everybody that.
Like, look how far we have to go. We have to go about 40 feet from the first line. Can you see that? All the way down.
But if you did it conventionally, Brad, what would that have looked like?
Oh,
you did it like everyone else in the world. What would it have looked like?
Oh, that's the vertical drive. Yeah, we would have had to end up trying to move this whole line or move the routers that way. It would have taken away from our raw good storage, which is already very cramped. So there was just no way for us to get a 4-foot conveyor in there.
So in other words, Brad, he would have had a big flat conveyor system like everybody else, like Amazon has, and like everybody else, and thought the way that everyone else. And he says, no, why are we transporting the doors flat? Let's put them on edge. Go back and point at that incredible innovation behind you that you're transporting everything vertically.
Yeah. So this is the doors instead of transferring them this way, which is how we did it, like up until we got the 4th machine installed. Craig, it was all Craig, because we were literally standing there scratching our heads like, hey, how are we going to do this? And Craig just picked up a door and he had it in his hand and he's like, why don't we do that? And then it doesn't matter how tall it is. It could be 8 feet tall and we can still send it down the line with no motion. And he got a rock star for that.
Unbelievable. Great example.
Okay. So we have
Brad,
yeah.
While you're thinking about the next thing, there was a red screen behind you when you were standing before. Is that an and-on system?
Richard, like, do you pop all the balloons at the Christmas party or what? Like, I'm getting there. It's next. So
Okay.
we're just gonna switch spots with the camera guy. So the thing that I'd like to get back to is just the standards and how we create standard work for each and every single door, because the hard part for people when it comes to creating standard work is creating it. They think they don't need it because they know the job. And we say you have to create it for the new person. And we're always trying to make life easy for the new person here. So we created standard work that we learned from that guy who you might recognize at FastCap. And so we created standard work for every single door that we manufacture as a standard worksheet. And even some of them are the same. Some of them are exactly the same, but we don't want guessing and assuming. We want everybody to go to the door they need. If I'm making the Maryland door, they peel this off, they stick it so it's in the bench, and now it's in front of them if they need the help while they're working. The standard worksheets are right there. And then if they really want to go to the next level, they can just scan the QR code, which pulls up that document on that screen.
Brad,
Speaking of, yeah.
I want you to show quickly that sheet, and I want you to show the standard work. Show me the steps that you're articulating with clarity to remove ambiguity.
Okay, so if you get right in on some of those things.
Very good. Now, can you say what they say? Because it's a little difficult to read.
Yeah, so we try and create the standard work to have a big picture and very few words. So, using the 2-inch block with 180 grit sandpaper, sand the inside profile from corner to corner, 3 passes per side. And then it goes over here to say using the 3M sponge, top of the inside, 1 pass per side. Do not polish the inside profile. So each one has a specific instruction, but the picture should give you about 80% of what you're trying to get, and the words should just be like, oh yeah, that's right. And we found we still had to take it one step further, because with all of the variation in the doors, we have to have like 500 different kinds of sanding blocks. And they used to just be all in bins along the bench here. And then a new person starts and they're just using willy-nilly whatever sanding block that they think needs to be used for that door. And again, that was causing some defects. So we created the standard of every door has its own tray with the specific sanding blocks, which we make here ourselves. We 3D print them. So that a new person, of course, after training, but on like day 2, they can be like, oh yeah, what was that Maryland door? Oh, there's the worksheet and there's the tools I need. So they're already miles ahead in, eliminating guessing and assuming when it comes to getting the job done right.
Brad, that is unbelievable what you've done there. I think that is just the epitome of what we're trying to do with lean, and that is we want to remove defects. This is one of the big things that Lexus and Toyota is obsessed with, is we want to eliminate defects, because defects create waste, and you're basically doing that by creating standard work. So why do we create standard work, Brad, in your opinion? Why do we create standard work?
Oh, to eliminate variation.
And why do we want to eliminate variation, Brad?
Eliminate defects.
You got it. Excellent.
Okay, so on to what these screens are. So we have and this is also available on the Quantum Lean website, is these are production timers. And we found that, one, if we're not measuring, we don't know what we're doing. And two, if we're not balancing our workflow, then you could be overproducing in one area and underproducing in another area. And based on looking at the line, you may not be making the right decision. So we put these timers at every single station in the factory. And so the screen will turn red, green, or yellow, whether or not you're on track, you need help, or you're way behind. And so right now, I can tell, as sad as it is, that my factory is behind today, probably mostly to do with this Paul Akers guy coming and doing the tour, freaking everybody right out.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it's really cool. Like any other day, if I walk back here right now, you see a hubbub of activity. Everybody looks like they're busy. You're like, oh, we must be doing good. Actually, no, we're not. It's taking us 3 minutes right now on average to make a door, and it should be about 2, preferably less.
So Brad,
But,
let me just say, you saw this at Lexus, is that correct? You saw this on system, our enunciation system that told you the status of every line, and you basically incorporated that into the Best Damn Door factory, which I've never seen. So you can walk anywhere in your plant and glance around and look at these computer screens and tell you whether or not a particular cell or area is behind, burdened, or on time.
Absolutely. And so
phenomenal.
This is the standing bench, and this is kind of like the bottleneck area. So this is the one we want to see. We can see this screen from the office through the curtain and everything. So this for us is a great improvement to get that big screen on the wall. But I'll spin you around.
Brad, it's very important that you take them to the robot and show them how you simplified the robot. Do not miss that instruction. It's incredible.
We won't. So you can see the screen is at our glue station. Sorry, Carter, keep going. We want to show them how this works. So our screen is at the glue station as well. So as the line leader, you can just look at the screens. There's a screen over there for the edge standing. And you can just look and see who needs help. Right now, everybody needs help. But we're really struggling once with our glue because we didn't want any squeeze out, but we wanted to make sure we had the right amount. And this guy right here, Philip from Torre, you're not even going to believe this. I get choked up when I tell the story. But I was talking to him just on Voxer, and I was like, hey, we're struggling with our glue. This guy gets on an airplane and leaves his family and his business to come help me solve a glue problem. It was just like, whoa, this is the most amazing lean community in the entire world. And I would love to say right now, Philip, happy birthday, my friend. It's your birthday today. We love you.
That's cool. Happy birthday, Philippe. You know, one thing I want to make sure everyone understands here, what Brad is doing, this is a very important concept. You notice how much credit Brad is giving to all the people he learned everything does. He doesn't make the assumption that he created all these ideas. And the truth of the matter is Brad has created endless innovations in his plant, but he goes out of his way to give credit to other people who have helped him in his lean journey, which is extraordinary and exactly the way lean leadership should look like.
Yeah, well, I would be absolutely lost without the 2-second lean community. Everybody's been phenomenal. So this leads me to one of our cooler machines. And it didn't even occur to me, you know, whatever, 5 or 10 years ago that we could build our own equipment because what we wanted wasn't out there until I met this guy. Glenn Bostock from SnapCab. Oh, Norman, miss you. And Shingo. We're at SnapCab, and Glenn cuts thousands and thousands and thousands of panels a day. And he had this machine that they had built themselves, and they got some of the parts at Home Depot. And I'll never, ever, ever forget, he said, I like it when it breaks down on Saturday that I could go across the street and get parts for it. And it stuck with me. And from that day when I saw, hey, machines aren't just built by machine makers, you can actually be one of those guys. We started making our own machines. So we built our own glue machine, and you can see it puts on absolutely the perfect amount of glue every single time. And then,
So Brad, I want to make
Yeah.
a point real quick, okay? In the very beginning of my book, I say money suffocates creativity. The more money you have, you just go out and buy the equipment. Brad is the epitome of what I was talking about in the very beginning of my book. He has used his head and not his wallet to solve his problems. He has created machine after machine, conveyor system after conveyor system, reprogrammed robots to do things that would cost tens of thousands of dollars to do. He found simple solutions by using his head and not his wallet, because money suffocates creativity. And nobody is a better example of this than what Brad is doing. Go ahead, Brad.
thumbs up for being poor.
Yeah.
So this was one of our first machines that we made when we were struggling with how can we get a perfect joint on the front side of our doors. And we wanted to create what we call our river of wood. And so the doors start down that vertical conveyor, they go across the sanding bench, they come across the glue machine, they go through this machine, they come down and back around this conveyor, and then they jump over here to this station for processing, and then we put them on to another conveyor through a sander. And it kind of, the idea is that nothing stops. Everything is continually moving. So we come down here.
And Brad, the advantage of that, so everybody understands, is it reveals problems. So if things don't flow and things do stop, and you're not using a cart system like most people would use, it reveals immediately a deficiency in the system, which you need to address.
Exactly. And when we were busting at the seams, and we only had 2 machines, we had larger batches going around the place, and it was like the smaller the batches, the less space that we needed. And now we might maybe have 30 or 40 doors in process at any given time, and we make hundreds a day. So we just try and keep that river of wood flowing.
Wow.
There is
Just
one other thing I want to show you.
Incredible thinking, Brad.
See the girl with the vest on that's waving at us right now? She has a vest on because she's listening to 2 Second Lean right now, Paul.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
We have what we call the forced learning program. And so we allow people to read books and listen to books if they wear the safety vest. So that
wow, how clever. So they're not completely engaged in the work. So you have a safety vest on, so people are aware that they're doing something in addition to their work. Is that correct, Brad?
That's exactly right.
I did not know that. That is phenomenal.
Okay. So again, we have another screen here that tells us at our QC station that it's red. So today we're suffering. No more tours. Now we get into some fun stuff. I'm trying to go quick. I know
and everyone should know this, that Brad volunteered to do this tour 2 weeks ago. I challenged him, or Brad might even challenge me and said, I'd love to do that tour. And I said, Brad, you're on. And he stepped up to the plate and did this. This is amazing. He's going through huge transitions in his company right now, bringing in new equipment, machinery, taking out old stuff, and still he bit the bullet and he did this. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, no problem. So this one, recognize that guy? Angel, Phoenix Fire Helmets. We're at his factory. He hosted a lean tour, and he had these gadgets that spun the helmets so they could put their hardware all around the helmet. And I was like, oh my God, we have people spinning doors all day long when we're painting them. So we came back and we hit the drawing board. And so we started to create what we call our spin bot. And this is how it started and evolved. And then it's all air powered. And now we just push a button and it turns automatically. So while we're painting, nobody's manually turning a door. I think we could demo that. Hey, Mary, Mary's going to demo that.
So Brad, once again, this is your own innovation, not available on the market, and you developed this system, and now it saves you mountains of time.
Yeah, it saves us about 6 seconds per coat, per door. It works out to be about 45 minutes a day.
Wow, this is incredible. So I always say, if the greatest innovation platform in the world is lean thinking, if you want to invent and develop great products, become a lean thinker. So Brad is not just a door manufacturer. He is actually innovating tools, equipment, machinery, very much like Michael did for the door making industry because of lean thinking.
We actually have a spin-off company now called Automation, which now we started with the glue machine, and we actually got really good at building machines. So here's one that this one is like there's no human being on earth that enjoys being here. Who likes those? Who wants to be on the end of one of those all day, sanding? And then you have the human that feels like, oh, I'm just a sander. You know, they don't feel that special. So what we built next was this. This is the pinnacle so far of our machinery building. And we had to make it easy for woodworkers because, you know, we get freaked out when we see robots. We're like, oh, that's crazy. So I'll demonstrate how difficult this one is to run right here. You just stick your finger in the little hole there and you're done. And you just watch it sand. It does everything for you. It thinks, it tells you the profiles, it tells you the size of the door. Oh, we're showing off. We're going to sand the edges too. And it's the only robotic sander in the world that sands the edges of the door. This took us probably the better part of 2 years to build, but it works at least twice as good as we thought it would. So
Brad,
that is our latest baby. Yeah.
So when Brad showed this to me, everyone, it's amazing. But what's more amazing is how he made the system so that anyone can actually walk up to that and program it to do what they want to do. Brad, explain that. It's crazy.
So I should actually credit that guy, Greg Gleed, because the whole machine building thing was him and Glenn when Greg had a pedestal building machine that was just like crazy. I saw it in his shop and I'm like, I want to build that stuff. But one thing that we try and do is we try and create all of the worksheets on the machine where you need them. I don't know any other machinery manufacturer that does that. They all put them in manuals where you have to read. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to see a big picture. So right there's the startup procedure. Try and get right in there. And we've had total strangers walk up to the machine and start sanding with it.
Because you've made the process of programming it, which is generally done by experts, accessible to everyone through simple process sheets.
Yes, sir.
Incredible.
All right. And I have, let me know if the sound drops off. I could hear an earbud just pooped out.
Everything's good.
Okay. Last demo.
This is unbelievable. Here we go.
This is respect for customers. So most people ship everything like this on skids. And I was in Japan. I had one of these. I had a candy, okay? And I ate the candy and I had the wrapper. And I was walking around with our tour guide, Mami, at the time. And I said, oh, is there a garbage in the factory? I could put my wrapper. And she looked at me and she said, why would you give them your garbage? And it was like a punch in the face. Like I never heard anything like that in my life. And I was like, oh my God, I'm such an a-hole. You're right. I took the wrapper, I put it in my pocket. It's my garbage. Why am I giving it to you? Well, what happens when we ship this thing to our customers? This is what you're left with right there. I weighed it this morning. It's 77 pounds of garbage. If I ship you 2 skids a week, I'd ship you 7,700 pounds of garbage to your factory, to my customer, the people that I know and love and should be respecting. And I'm shipping them literal garbage. I thought, no, this can't be. And if you want to see how, where'd my wrapper go? Oh no. Oh yeah.
In your pocket.
Yeah. If you want to see how messed up we are, this is America, North America, and Canada, okay? This is us. This is Japan. Do the math. You know, don't tell me that abundance doesn't create waste, because there's no comparison to how they think and how we think. It's unbelievable. So what we decided to do was we created a shipping cart for our customers that all of the doors, again, they ship vertically. There's no sorting. You can see which orders are where. And we don't have to run around looking for pump trucks. We don't have to find forklifts to move them. We don't need anything to load the truck. We simply roll this right onto the truck, and all of the details of the order are right on the back. We see the order number if there's oversize that we should be looking for before we load the truck. So we try and eliminate mistakes, and all of the shipping documents, everything's on this cart. So as soon as we want to ship this, there's no thinking, no guessing, no assuming. We take the and we run onto the truck. I'm sorry, guys. Is we have this floor tape that
So
shows,
Brad,
yeah. Oh,
no, I want you to do the floor tape, but I want to make a point. I want to make a point right there. It's very important. Brad's been to Japan with me, and this is what you're seeing in Lexus and tier 2, tier 1 suppliers at Toyota. They actually have specialized parts that go to Toyota. They take the parts off and then they ship the carts back. So there's no packaging. Now the products are not damaged. Everything's neatly organized. This is a phenomenal concept that Brad has now applied to his own applications. And it's just extraordinary thinking, which I said in the very beginning. Brad is an extraordinary thinker. He does not accept the status quo. Continue with your floor tape.
It's very flattering. So we try and create like visual cues everywhere. And so one of the things that we've done is we've got this floor tape that tells us everything past that line is complete. And it does actually go through the plant. If we zoom back over to the robot.
We can't see the floor tape, Brad. You need to do a better shot of the floor tape. We want to see it.
Can't see the floor tape.
And I'll help Brad with
Right
this. He makes and sells this floor tape. If you want it, he's got it on his website. It's really, really cool and very, very thoughtful. In process. Wow.
So if you come down here, you can see we have some that say next and we have some that say in process. So we know that any of the racks in this area are the ones being worked on. Any of the ones over here should be worked on next. And these ones are the ones that are being worked on. And this is how we maintain the flow in our finishing and robot style. And then the complete one goes over there.
Yeah, Brad, it's still the video quality did not come through. You're moving too quickly. Is there any way you could show at least 3 different floor tapes slowly and methodically?
Yeah, we have to slow down without the gimbal. It's hard. So you want to see the floor tape again, just like.
Perfect. Next. Okay, next one, Brad. In process. Got it. Okay. Are those the 2 different kinds, Brad?
Yeah, and then we have the one that says complete over here.
Awesome.
And they can say anything really, but this is just the 3 standard ones that we chose that kind of help people keep things flowing.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Brad. Sorry about that.
No problem. I appreciate it.
Brad.
Yeah.
Brad, couple of questions. Okay. Obviously, it's a dusty environment. We've noticed that your employees are using probably triple layer face masks. Do you think that's a good way to prevent the dust in a dusty environment?
No, I don't know that there's any good way other than like a full-on 3M, face mask to get rid of the fine particulate. It's something that we hate and struggle with every single day. It is on our drawing board, though. We're probably going to design a new head for the CNC because I can't believe none of them have figured it out yet, but we will.
Okay,
going to be gone.
Another question for you. The open cart that you send to your customers, somebody has asked, how would you prevent theft or parts falling out the cart?
Yeah, that's always a question everybody asks. Like, our customers were returning our skids, and we're like, well, if they're trying to give back our skids, of course they're going to give back our carts. Maybe there's 1 or 2 floating out there in the world, but when you talk about like, if we want to show our customers respect, it's not at every turn we have to protect ourselves or make money, we say we don't want to send you 100 pounds worth of garbage with our doors. And that is the priority. And if you would also be so kind as to just return the cart next time we're here, we'd appreciate it. And we haven't had a problem yet.
So
Right,
the answer
so
to the answer to that question for the person that asked is compared to what? So he loses a cart compared to pumping hundreds of pounds of trash on every customer every day. Compared to what? There are lots of choices in life, and you have to choose what is the best choice compared to the alternative. Brad, are you by your morning meeting board where you can lower it and show people what you've done there?
Yeah. Come on down. This is actually this. I was debating whether or not I should tell people about this, but I'm going to just for fun, because one of our behaviors is respect for people. And if you're a business owner, there's a good chance that you have other things going on in your business world. And I know that the people that work at my factory, I can predict the next 20 years of their life. You know, part of it's being old, and part of it is what I've learned in my career. And kind of deep down, you know that person is in trouble when it comes to retirement, period. And so what we've started here is what I call our minimum wage millionaire program. And basically I spend every Friday teaching people about money and how what we've been taught about it has been totally wrong our entire lives. And so we spend every Friday, and I show everybody how you can go from, you don't need to make any more than minimum wage to be a millionaire, you know, inside of 10 or 15 years. And
amazing.
That alleviates burden from people of trying to like look for another job for another $1 an hour, another 25 cents an hour. I mean, we can't go through the slides, but I'll prove to you your life doesn't change from minimum wage to $25 an hour. It just doesn't change. You might have a fancier car or a better iPhone, but that's about it. And so if we want to create financial stability and longevity with our team here, then somebody should help them with that. And so we've taken that on as a company.
The best part of the whole tour right there. That is genius.
And consequently, that was the last part of the whole tour. So,
well, but remember the screen, Brad. I did want you to show them that the screen goes up and down. Show them how you utilize your meeting space more effectively.
Yeah. So this.
Okay, Brad.
Go ahead.
While the screen is going up and down, a couple of questions. What was the first thing you did in order to turn to lean, and how you engaged your people right at the beginning?
I would say that the first thing is, did my earbuds just die?
No, we're good.
Oh, you can still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I would say, I mean, the first thing to do is to train and educate everybody. Is you know, as a leadership, you've got to get the concepts down. You know, read 2-second lean, read the lean deal, get your head around it, and then just start your morning meeting. And that's where everything starts to unfold. Once you start teaching people how to see waste, it's everywhere. So it's not hard to find once you know what you're looking for. And that would be my first step.
One more. At the beginning, you said 100 doors a day would be impossible. What are you actually at right now?
I think we're averaging what's our average at 290 something a day?
290. How would you turn it into an operation that maybe made 5,000?
Eliminate waste. We think that we're probably halfway with everything that we have right now. We think maybe 50% of what we do on a daily basis. But you can, you know, it's just really hard, you know, just because I see it and just because I believe it, they all have to get behind it and understand, you know, understand flow characteristics. And so once we start, as the team grows, the numbers grow. And that's just what's happened over the years. The team grows and the numbers grow. So to go to 5,000, I don't know what that looks like. You know, or we'll go for 400. And then when we get to 4, we'll know what 5 will look like.
Yeah, I love the
Excellent.
answer. Just keep eliminating waste. Absolutely.
It's
100%.
exactly the right answer. It's exactly the right answer.
Okay, so final thoughts from you, please, Paul, before we wrap it up for the day.
Money suffocates creativity. Lean is the greatest innovation tool, vehicle in the world. Brad is an extraordinary lean thinker because he will not accept the status quo. If you're happy with the way things are, caution. Brad, thank you.
Brought to you by paulakers.net, where you'll find all Paul's books and lean resources for free, including the new 2-second Lean Play app, like Audible, but free. To listen to Lean is Lean on the 2-second Lean Play app at paulakers.net.